Today's case takes us to Stockholm in 1932, where we meet a 32-year-old divorcee called Lilly Lindeström. She had had a tough life, which many women during these ages had. I couldn't find a lot of info about that, but whatever it was, the divorce and everything pushed her into the life of a sex worker. But not any kind of sex worker. She was an oddity in Stockholm during these days. She was a very early form of call girl. She had the luxury to have a phone installed in her apartment. Her apartment was located in the Atlas area of Stockholm, in Sankt Eriksplan. There she lived on the upper floors, and below her was her good friend and also sex worker Mimmi. And the story begins one day in 1932, the 30th of April. Mimmi was visiting Lilly in her apartment just above hers to discuss the plans of the evening. It was Valborg. We could go into Valborg in a later episode. It's a very important holiday here in Sweden that mostly involves a big old bonfire and lots of alcohol. Either way, the two girlfriends were talking in their room about the night they were planning to visit Djurgården later and watch said bonfire together. During their talking, Lilly got a phone call. Mimmi remembers afterwards that it sounded like a respectable young man, and Lilly seemed a bit iffy at first because she had plans and it was a new customer, but since he had gotten her number somewhere, she thought that it was all fine. It could be a new regular, for all she knew. So she waved her friend Mimmi goodbye, and Mimmi returned to her flat on the lower entrance. From what we can tell, the man would come visit soon after, because Mimmi recalls that Lilly came down asking for a condom just a few hours later. And even she actually came down once again, completely nude besides like some kind of wrapping over her, asking for another one because the first one broke. Mimmi said that this was the last time that she saw Lilly again. She tried going up, knocking on the door later that evening to see if Lilly was ready to go on their little excursion to Djurgården to watch the Valborg bonfire together, and no reply. She just assumed that she had already left with a man, so Mimmi went with some other friends and was confused because she didn't see Lilly there at all. And then the days went. 4 days later, Mimmi was starting to get very, very scared for her friend because she hasn't seen or heard from her in 4 days. So now it was the 4th of May. The cops quickly came and entered the apartment. Inside, they found Lilly dead. She was lying on an ottoman, and she was deathly pale, suspiciously pale. They could see that she had been dead for a few days, so probably from that night 4 days ago. She had blankets neatly placed over her, and even some cushions laid properly on top of her. They found her clothing neatly piled on a chair next to her, and the entire apartment was spotless and cleaned to perfection. There was no sign of blood anywhere, and they soon quickly realized that she had been drained of all her blood. Where did it all go? The newspaper sensationalized this murder quickly. Just a few months earlier, there had been some very big Hollywood movies about vampires going around, so people were quick to put the one and one together. Also, a few days later, someone found a soup ladle. Is that like a thing that you scoop soup with? And it had some mysterious stains on it, and it was found pretty close to the murder. So people and the newspapers assumed that this was the weapon, or that it was what had been used to drink all of her blood, Lily's blood. And there the name came, Atlas Vampire. Or as in Sweden, they were called Vampyrmorden, which translates into the vampire murder. And the name just kinda stuck. And as I said, this is an unsolved case. She had been hit in the head from around here down to her neck 3 times, blunt force trauma, and that is how she had died. They quickly found her little notebook with all her regulars, and all of them were released. No proof that it could have been either of them. From what I know, they didn't even question the ex-husband. And now some theories and other clues for us today. Some thought that it could have been a cop, because the crime scene was extremely clean, and only a cop would know what to bring, what to leave, and absolutely what not to leave at the crime scene. And he could have easily been one of the people working on the case, if that was the case. Another important thing to note was that she had a sign outside of her door at all times, which showed her phone number. And she would always turn the sign around, not showing her number if it was a new customer. But if it was a regular, her phone number would be visible. The night of the murder, her phone number was visible. So, everything still points to the man that Mimmi knew arrived was a stranger, because Lilly said so, that she didn't recognize the man. But why was the number switched to the regular position, as if she knew the person? Did someone else come later? The positioning of her body, when they found her, she was lying face down and back upwards. I'm gonna show a picture. And they found a used condom between her legs. This could point to a sadistic sexual killer, someone who did it in the spur of the moment. But at the same time, cleaning the entire apartment and removing all her blood doesn't seem like just a spontaneous killing in the heat of the moment. There's lots of things going into this case, and no real solutions or answers, sadly. It's easy to hear podcasts and read more about it if you just Google the Atlas murder. In many of the English versions, her friend is called Minnie, which must have been some kind of weird translation, because in all of the Swedish articles and news, her name is Mimi. And Mimi is a Swedish name, which Minnie is not. So yeah, that's also a small little detail. And that was the story of Lilly and the Atlas vampire. Let me know down below what you thought. There's a lot of theories going on around this case, and of course there's just no way anyone's ever gonna solve it, and she's not gonna get any justice, sadly. And I just say rest in peace, Lilly, and yeah, it's just a sad case. Having to be kind of forced into this kind of life, because there wasn't just many options for women. Also, I want to say a quick thanks to my patrons. You mean the world to me, like always. I'm gonna do a little roll down here next to me, as usual. Thank you all. Like, seriously. Every little bit counts. The money I get on my Patreon goes to subscriptions and just things I need to make my videos better, and I hope for next year they will be better. I have so many plans, and I'm hoping that everything I learned this year will just multiply and triple and all that. Yeah. So, have a very happy new year, and hopefully I'll see you here next year. Like, comment, subscribe. Love you all. Kisses. Mwah. Kisses to my patrons. Mwah, 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 mwah. You're awesome. Always remember that. Thank you. Bye bye.